like as a joke, really, to tell you the truth. Somebody thought my last live stream was about, dating a white woman and how to date a white woman. Somebody made a joke about that. And I started thinking to myself, about, that whole situation as a black man in America and how interesting that can be, what I'm saying, as far as, dating a white woman in America, like I said, just, that taboo, that subject that, a lot of people don't like to really talk about in the black community, but it happens, dating white women, and I have nothing against, white women. I have nothing against, that whole situation as far as that goes. I mean, listen, people are people. Everybody should be able to date whoever they want. However, in the black community, it is a big taboo when a black man does that. What's going on, Bug Out Brad? You in? Like I said, a lot of people got in there too. This is not how to date white women. I'm not trying to give any tips. I'm not trying to tell people how to live their life or whatever the case may be. You know, um, yeah, Bug Out Brad. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is just about the fact that, like I said, it is a taboo, interracial dating and stuff like that. People, make a big thing about, the LGBT rights, which is something to be said about that. But I'll say this, still the most controversial relationship in society today is a white and a black man, a white and a black man, a white and a black person, be it they gay, be it they straight, be it they man, be it they women, be it two women. It's one of the most controversial relationships. What's going on, Monster Chick? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you, And like I said, it's a taboo subject matter. I mean, my personal opinion on it is that people should be able to date who they want, regardless of color. What's going on, Alan B. Pro? People should be able to date who they want, regardless of color. But at the same time, don't trash your own race. If you're a black person, don't trash, your race, because you don't like what's going on in there if you choose to date somebody else. But it happens, like I said. So it's just something that people get a lot of heat for, because as a black man, if I go out there and I decide that I want to date a white woman, now all of a sudden I have trouble. We as human race would never grow and get past racism until we recognize that we're all the same. Yes, lunatic, that I agree with you. I agree with you totally, wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are ignorant on both sides. There's some people who feel that, you should only date within your race, or you have to keep the race pure, or, you can't step outside of the community and stuff like that. And it's sad, because, what happens is you miss out on so much. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with dating somebody within your race, but at the same time, it shouldn't be a requirement, a prerequisite as far as to having kids. Yeah, my friend from Carolina, Antigua, is Wesley Snipes, black and a high school. No, I'm like, oh, it's interesting. What's going on, Slayer? Thank you for coming through. Two of my sons with black girls, and they are so sweet and beautiful. That's awesome, lunatic dad. Like I said, it should be a situation where people should be able to date whoever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want. But unfortunately, in society today, it's still an issue. You'd be surprised how many people. What's going on, SC? Thank you for coming through. This subject has gotten a lot of people interested, and a lot of attention to this. What's going on, Double Take? Hey, what's going on? I don't knock anybody for choosing to date outside of their race. If we study tribalism and support cultures, why is it racist if some cultures want to keep it their culture? It's not racist. It's not racist if people want to keep it in their culture. Bug out Brad. But interracial dating is a thing. Interracial dating is how a lot of us have gotten here, because everybody, didn't just decide that, they wanted to stay within their race, and, people got to America or whatever continent they eventually got to just because everybody wanted to keep it in the race. It is a situation where, there's tribalism, there's culture. It's not racist to want to keep it inside of your own culture, but it can be limited, and that's just my opinion. It can be limited if you just want to keep it within the race. Yo, what's going on, Technic Beaks? There are ignorant people who don't understand love is love, knows no color. Yeah, lunatic dad, that's true. I used to date all types of ladies in today's world. It's somewhat of an issue. Yes, it is somewhat of an issue. What's going on, Linda? And I'll say this: date whoever you want to, but don't talk on black women for being loud or XYZ praise the race of being loud and other. Yeah, this is true. This is true. It's nothing wrong with dating outside of your race, but I say to anybody that decides to date outside of the race, don't tear down your own race because things didn't work out. Don't make it bad, for the women of your race, of your background, of your culture, because you're not dating that particular person. Be it you English, be it you Asian, be it you black, be it you Russian, whatever the case may be. And in my opinion, it's being done for a reason. In 500 years, the color will be gone, and then we can find out other things that divide us. Hey, listen, Bug Out Brad, I agree with you. If it's not race, then people will find something else. American culture is its own race. Yes, Linda, and this is true. This is true. But unfortunately, in today's society, it's still a thing. There's celebrities who get teased for it. There are people within the community who get, bashed and tore down for dating outside of their race and whatnot. How do you feel about the Umar Johnson said on the radio about white and black relationships? Me personally, as far as Dr. Umar Johnson, he makes good points on certain things, but I can't really move with that brother too deeply on anything because some of the things he's saying is from a racial standpoint, a racist standpoint, a black nationalist standpoint. And the problem with the black nationalist standpoint is that we say, okay, be the black nationalist, this is about black power, black culture, this, that, and the third. But then if a white person comes out and says something that's white nationalist and white culture, we're ready to, put them on the stake. Human race descends from Africa. Yes, this is true. All brothers and sisters, we are all one. I agree with all you folks in here. We are all one, but unfortunately, that is not always the narrative. Like with me, oh, he's quite terrible, but the point is he made about the topic was pretty hard to knock. I mean, he made some points about it, and I heard him speak about it, double take, but at the same time, yeah, it is a tricky conversation, but then it's really not. It's a conversation where you love the skin that you're in, appreciate the culture that you're coming from, but sometimes you want more. Is a person wrong if they decide that they want to date somebody Puerto Rican, Native American, black, Russian, Asian, whatever the case may be? I have a Native American, Norwegian, Irish, and other things. I'm an American mutt. Yeah, hey Lynn, we all are. I love all kinds of men, but it's something about a chocolate brother. Yeah, nah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We are beautiful and gorgeous. I guess it depends on the families. I don't have this problem. I have no problem with races mixing. We all come from a higher being. I agree. What's up, Josie? Thank you for coming through. I agree with Lunatic Dad there. We all come from a higher being. It is about us being all one race, as Bug Out Brad says. But sometimes I hate to say this within the black community. That's not how it's always seen. Yeah, other people outside of the black community may feel that is a human race. I always love you. That's funny, double take. I wish. But like I said, it's challenging. It's challenging because like I said, it's like there are so many other things to experience, and I'm not saying that you can't experience with people from your own race. My thing is that if I'm gonna date a black woman, I don't want to date just because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way it goes. But some people feel that way. So I'm like, hey, yeah, that's just crazy to me. That's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. Where do you go with that? What does some of you think? I'm glad you're having this conversation. It helps a lot. Well, I mean, people need to know. They need to just hear that, like I said, these are things that, folks think about and whatnot, and, stuff that, goes on in the minds and goes on in different communities and whatnot. So you don't want to act like it's not there, it doesn't exist. You hate these conversations. Okay, why do you hate these conversations? Let me know. I'm listening. I'll wait for you. It's awkward. Why is it awkward? I'm waiting. Unneeded. Okay, it's awkward. It's unneeded. Why? Type in anything. Anything that you feel. I'm waiting. Can't judge a book by its cover. Look at me, grandma Indian and black, but I'm light. That's true. That's true. That's definitely true. It's definitely true. I mean, because we shouldn't need, wait up, hold on. Because we shouldn't need to have it. Why? That's interesting. We shouldn't need to have it. I don't wonder why. Racism. I don't know what it is. Racism. I love that you address topics, but well, yeah, I try to. Um, Racism, meaning I don't feel it in my heart. I don't understand Bug Out Brad. You have to explain that more. Thank you, Josie. I appreciate it. I think we need to have talks about culture to clear up the misunderstandings or to address the unknown. I agree, Double Take. And that's what I try to do. I try to address the unknown. I try to say, it happens, that these things need to be addressed. I think it opens people's eyes to what to each other's thoughts. Yes, it does. I mean, and I say it is tricky in that from a cultural standpoint, from an opinion standpoint. When we have these conversations or we talk about these particular things, because at the end of the day, you don't want to tear anybody down or break anybody down. I think we're all American culture. I agree, Lynn, but this is a conversation that goes so much deeper than just American culture, just human nature, just in general, because no matter what city, state, town, country you're from, people face different types of racism, different types of ostracism, different types of prejudice based off of how they look and stuff like that. Colorism, racism, classism, sexism. These particular type of things that people go through, and it shouldn't be. And I agree with you to an extent, Bug Out Brad. But at the same time, we are human beings, and we do have these things that happen as far as us having these different prejudices. We do have things that are not addressed and not tackled from generation to generation, and it goes on and it goes on, and left unchecked is left to us to have these conversations. For me as a white guy who has always had friends from all backgrounds, I don't understand why racism exists. How do you feel about cultural appropriation? Cultural appropriation is not going anywhere. And let me address Bug Out Brass. As a white guy, I mean, I'm not a white guy, so I'm not going to pretend to understand where you're coming from as a white guy. But, racism exists because it is something that is in the heart of people. And some people don't want to let go of things. Some people fear what they don't understand as far as people from other cultures and different, backgrounds that they come from. Guts and Glory, what's up to you? Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. I'll be right back. Okay, I just had to fix the door. I'm right here. I'm right back. Let me get to your comments. Sorry about that. True, how people look, sexual preferences and such. I don't judge people not in my makeup as a human. I have a lot of black friends and that are family to me and always talk about race and we get to understanding each other. Yes, I agree that you can sometimes judge a book by its cover. For instance, adult mags versus adult children. Exactly. Interesting. I think these things should be addressed. I noticed Mel was the only YouTuber that did a video on Black History Month. I salute you. Appreciate it. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you. It was cool. I just try to fear is a weakness and understanding is power. I have to run. We adopted a baby. Is up. It's all good, Bug Out Brad. Thank you for coming through. We fear what we don't understand, and we either try to destroy it or enslave it. These are things that are true. All great comments. Thank you, Bug Out Brad, for coming through. As far as why racism exists, there's fear in people's hearts. There's things in people's minds that they're afraid of. Hey, appreciate you, Bug Out Brad, for coming through. And it's kind of sad. But like I said, as it comes to dating people from different culture, different backgrounds and stuff like that, it's something that shouldn't be an issue. But unfortunately, it is. It is because people are afraid of these different things, and then there's past divisions and different things that people haven't addressed, especially with black and white folks. Unfortunately, there's a lot of tension, a lot of things that haven't been addressed properly or in a realistic way. So sometimes there may be certain insensitivities that exist, with trying to date somebody from a different culture that may not get it. People should be able to love who they want. This is true, but it's not always it doesn't come without its faults. It doesn't come without its perils. It doesn't come without its bigotry. It doesn't come without its racial commentary. Racism is just an excuse for one to hate. I agree, Beats. It's an excuse for one to hate, but it is something that exists and it happens. And kudos to those people who love, who they want because they want to love who they want. Kudos to those people that don't care about the color of your skin, but more or less the content of your character. Kudos to those people who are saying, you know what, I'm not worried about what other people think about who you are or how you look, how you present yourself, but I care about you. We live in different parts of the world. We go through different things. Because of race, it's good to come together here as one in one spot, and to speak about it. It helps break down doors. Yes, Josie, we need to break down doors, and that's the problem. Too many people are willing to just stay in a corner and be divided and be stereotypical and hate. I know some people personally who, hate white people, which I don't really associate with them too deeply. And I know people on the other spectrum who don't really get down with black people like that. I lived in Chicago for 40 years, and I believe in communication and understanding. Exactly. Love and live, stress left free, and choose only to be the same with associate with. Exactly. Well, there's a lot of people who may not be open-minded to the situation because it's easier to just stay with what you know. It's easier to be within the race that you're in. It's easier to hold on to stereotypes and stigmatisms and not venture out into what's out there. But there are people out there who are willing, to take on these challenges. They're willing to say, you know what, hey, I want to think differently. I want to experience everything that's out there. But it's tricky because, like I said, at the end of the day, you don't want to bash your own culture and where you come from. Like me as a black man, it is important that if I was to date a white woman, and I have never, I'm not saying I wouldn't, to not bash black women. Like I said, I'm not going to, get with a white woman and then bash black women for not being like that white woman. It's something where you appreciate each woman or each culture for what they are and how they are. I don't hate no one. My parents raised me to see no color but red because we all have to live and breathe the same and bleed the same. I agree with that, Josie. I don't associate myself with racists. It's unnecessary and it makes me uneasy. People with closed-minded won't look open-minded. True. Like I said, these are all valid points. What's up, Iron Firehouse? What's going on with you? I'm just having a tricky conversation about interracial dating, and like I said, I guess a black man trying to date a white woman, and this is some of the taboos and stuff like that that are out there. There are people who will come to you privately and just try to like tell you shouldn't do these type of things, or you sold out, or look at you betrayed your race, and different stuff like that. And it happens in different other cultures as well, with people dating maybe black women, or people dating Spanish women, or people dating Asian women. Like I said, there's people who may feel betrayed that you can't step outside of your race, and it's okay. It's more than okay to step outside of your race if that's what you want to do. It's more than okay to date somebody of a different culture if that's what you want to do. Don't bash your own race, or people don't look down on your own race if you choose to step outside and get into interracial dating and stuff like that. But the reality is that the backlash from it will come. People, as much as we say we are not really open-minded and ready for this on a broader scale. It's more acceptable now in this generation, maybe amongst the younger kids, because they date who they want. I hear you, Mel. I see people and upset when a white woman dates a black man. Love is love. Yes, I agree. Love is love. We want to take that. But I think for the younger generation, they're the ones that'll lead the conversation and push forward into an enlightened state as far as race and dating and stuff like that. My daughter lives with a black guy. Some people have some issues with it. Yeah, it happens. It happens. People do have issues with it. Free me out. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. It shouldn't be a problem if somebody wants to date outside of their race. It shouldn't be a problem if somebody wants to experience a different culture. It shouldn't be this great issue. It shouldn't be, like, oh, why are you dealing with this person, and why can't you just keep it all in the race and keep it together? One statement that needs to stop is that because I'm blah blah blah. No, it's not exactly. But fortunately, if we don't have these conversations and let people know that it's okay to date outside your race and deal with different people and experience different things, then these things will never really be addressed and fixed in the proper way. But I think the youngins out there are doing a great job. But people will look at the black men, and when we dated, I ignored them, as did he as well. Well, that's good, Lynn. Appreciate that. I find racing funny because we all mix and no one is really pure breed. He's awesome. He's from Jamaica. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You got somebody from Jamaica. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I said, yeah, man. It's like I said, it's a situation where in 2018 there shouldn't be issues with people dating outside of their race, but unfortunately there is. What's going on, Jerome Wolf Media? Appreciate you for coming through. Like I said, this is a touchy subject because there's still people who feel like, you know what, you got to keep it pure. You can't sell out. You can't put yourself in a way where you betrayed your race or you betrayed your community and stuff like that. Yeah, we all American. We are all American, but we do have divisions, and I try not to act like those divisions are not there culturally, racially, financially. Just I guess philosophically, religiously, those differences are there. But racism will truly never die. I agree with you, Guts and Glory. It will truly never die. But the thing is, you try to combat it, you know, with love, with positivity, with peace, with understanding. I agree, Josie, we are all human, but we don't always all treat each other like a human, especially with human history. My longtime partner is black 14 years ago now, and no one has ever said one word to me about him anywhere. Occasionally I will hear a white guy mutter something if we walk by, but it is so rare where I live. And that's good. That's good. It was tough back in 69, 70. That's cool. And I agree, we've made strides. We've made a lot of strides. This is not the worst problem it's ever been. I mean, if you bring it out to the media, to the forefront, people will speak about it and try to stand up for you and whatnot. Yet lots of division on many levels. I agree. Iron Firehouse. There's still lots of division on many levels. And everyone is racist in their own way. I don't know about that one. Lunatic Dad, I'm going to roll out. Yeah, no, much love to you, Lunatic Dad. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for giving your input into the conversation. I appreciate it. Like I said, I know this is not an easy thing to talk about. This is not an easy subject to tackle. So I'm not going to pretend like this is an exhaustive conversation. This is something that, like I said, I was thinking about. It was brought up to me. And then I was like, you know what? Let me address it. Let me talk about this. Because it is something that, people go through and stuff like that. It is something that people face. It's not as bad as it used to be. I mean, because you can go all the way back to the days of Emmett Till if you want to, how that situation goes. Like if a black man looked at a white man, he was getting killed. So we've come a long way from those days. But, it's still so much further to go because now everything is more subtle. It's more behind the scenes. It's more, less, if it does come out open, it's online. It's on people's chat boards or timelines. It's in people's DMs. It's social media posts out there, attacking people, in a safe way where they could say, look at this one and that one, and how dare you date that person because of the race or the color of their skin. And it's sad that stuff like that still happens, but it's like Guts and Glory said, racism will never truly die. Embrace humanity. I agree with that. Yeah, and yes, Iron Firehouse is behind the scenes, but we can dilute the racism with starting with the younger generation. Yes, and I agree. I think it's with the younger generation. The younger generation, will begin to kind of like really turn the corner on a lot of these conversations. SMS doesn't help matters. I mean, personally, the premature racial date. Yeah, in my city it's okay, but when I was on a trip to Calgary, has a bigger black population, and it was the black ladies who said stuff to me. I was really surprised. Well, I hate to say it, free me out. Stuff like that does happen. People do feel away, because they may feel like, that the black man have betrayed them and stuff like that. It's crazy, but it does come out there. And within the black community, it is an issue that we don't really talk about openly, as far as men of the black race dating women who are white. It may be more acceptable for black women to date white men or other men, of different races. But if a black man dates a white woman, within the black community, it becomes a thing depending on who you're around. If folks are not open-minded about it. And not saying everybody in the black community feels that way, but there are people within the black community who do feel it's a betrayal, who do feel it's a wrongdoing, which is crazy. But, and then, if you look into other cultures, there are people who feel that way, be it Spanish, be Asian and stuff like that. But there's still a lot of open-minded people as well. So, it really depends on who you're around, what city you're in, what state or country and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, yeah, Lynn. I know you would kiss your man if they told you that crazy stuff, if they said something to you, But unfortunately, like I said, everybody is not open-minded, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Not even when I was a kid. I got where I live, and I really sheltered in my city. Well, like I said, you live in some places where people are understanding, and that's not an issue. But like where I'm from, even too, in my city, it's not an issue as well as like as much as that is. I know certain places, maybe in the South or certain parts of the country, that may still be an issue. What's going on, Beats? Protein powder. Oh yeah, that's the protein powder back there. It does what it does. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how deep of an issue it is for everybody, but I know it's something that still exists. It's still prevalent and whatnot. The opposite means when I went downstate to buy food, and my mom was called the N word, and for us to leave, my mom is light skinned, lighter than that was crazy. Sorry that you had to go through that, Josie. But that's something that still happens as well, because racism is still there, and some people who still want to hate, some people who still want to make it an issue like that. So it's crazy that these things happen like that. Well, I would kiss him and then run. In my 50s, don't want to break a hip. That's funny. That's funny. Well, my best friend for 40 years lives in Calgary, and she black and native, married a white man for over 30. That's cool. That's cool. Listen, people should be able to date whoever they want. They should be able to, just converse with whoever they feel like they, should converse with. But obviously, we still keep certain taboos and stereotypes going. We didn't get mad. We laughed and we left. Yeah, Josie. Sorry that it went down that way, but like I said, it's a situation where folks should be more understanding. But unfortunately, it's something that we still have to struggle with and fight with. And I just hope the next generation is able to push past it and, lead us into that right direction. I'm not going to sit here and give you a pie in the sky and say that, this is something that's just going to totally evaporate and go away. I'm not going to sit here and try to give you tips on how to date interracially and stuff like that. The best thing I could tell folks to do is to be open-minded, to be willing to understand the cultures, to be sensitive to the different ways people live, to understand how people feel on both sides of the issue, to feel like, if it was, a white man dating a black person and a black person, dating a white person and stuff like that, and vice versa. Just understand the culture, understand where people are coming from, understand the different sensitivities that exist, and that's a start. Be willing to have the conversation about race, about injustices that may have happened, between the cultures and stuff like that that you may be dating. Understand, the racial tension that may still be there. And I think these are some of the problems that people have when they date interracially. It's just not to act like, these things don't exist, not to bring them into your relationship, but just to acknowledge the fact that, what, these are things that are around, these are things that people feel, these are things that a person may be going through. Understand, I say to anybody who's, of a Caucasian descent, understand what a black person may go through in America or in society, and vice versa for the black man or the black person, to understand, how a white person may feel about different injustices and things that may have happened or stuff that they may have, going on with them way back in history. I mean, like I said, I don't know. It's just crazy. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not as bad as it was. It's not as bad as it was, and it's been a lot of strides. It's been a lot of gains, as like I said. So it's not like I'm saying that this is a big problem. This is a big issue, but it is something that's interesting. It is still something worth addressing. And let me see that last comment before I go. Canada was so racist when I moved here from Scotland in the 70s, and I have an Irish last name. Some places still don't have places with signs, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy. I stopped talking to my family for 10 years because they're so old school. They kept asking why I don't date someone white. Sorry to hear that. Free me way out. Wow. Thank you, Josie. Thank you. That's sad. Sorry about that. Free me. I mean, I wish people were more open-minded, but sometimes I hate to say it, it's probably more of the older generations that have more of a problem with this, as far as people dating interracially and stuff like that, or people, being in same-sex relationships and stuff like that. You have to let people live and do what it is that they do, whether you agree with it or not. Like I said, don't be so quick to, smash somebody down, Well, the problem is still relevant. Yeah, it's still relevant, Guts and Glory. It is still relevant. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still strides to be made. And I think that comes with the next generation actually shattering, you know, that glass ceiling, or dismantling, whatever it is that needs to be dismantled as it pertains to that particular issue. And it can be done. Yeah, as long as no one's getting hurt. Yeah, my kids are half Vietnamese, and they're permanently passed. And they're permanently passed at me. I don't care. Okay, I mean, it happens. It happens. I think you said pissed instead of passed. Oh, yeah, it is, as long as no one gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt. My kids are an American, Indian, Spanish, Irish, Italian, Japanese, and Middle Eastern. Wow, that's a lot of culture right there. But like I said, my parents, are pissed at me. Well, it happens. It happens. Free me out. People are going to be mad at folks, especially when you decide you want to date outside of your race. People will ask you questions like, why did you betray me? Or, who do you think you are? We know you want some of that other race, and maybe you're not really for your people like you say you're for your people. And a person shouldn't have to be questioned, as far as their loyalty to the race or to the humanity, to their city, to their culture, just because they may want to date outside the race. But unfortunately, these are things that happen. Unfortunately, these are things that people go through. And my thing is to try to tell folks, have an open mind. Don't be so quick to judge a book by its cover. Don't be so quick to be insensitive to somebody, and understand that people love, they love who they love. Sometimes people just connect with people on a just a realistic level, as far as their characteristics and things like that is concerned. My mom is an American Indian. Okay, that's nothing wrong with that. Your mom is with an American Indian land. That's good. That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, it should be something like that. Are you asking me, free me out? Would I date a white woman? I have never dated a white woman, but would I? Like I said, under the right circumstances, I won't do it just to do it. I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna go out there and find me a white woman, to prove a point. I'm gonna show the black community that I do what I want to do. Nah, I mean, it has to be the right circumstances, the right situation. Family pressure. I mean, I've been told, at times, you have to be careful, and be careful who you dating, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I've dated outside of the race and stuff like that, women outside of my race. But, family can try to pressure you, but at the end of the day, I'll date whoever I want to date. I'll marry whoever I want to marry. I'm not worrying about, anybody, trying to tell me who I can and can't be with, But at the same time, I want to make sure that we understand each other. Have a good night. Stay frosty to you, Gus and Glory. Appreciate you for coming through. Thank you definitely for your contribution to the conversation as well. Like I said, it's a situation where I try to tell folks, be open-minded. Try to see past the color. Try to see past the culture, and the stigmatisms, and what society tells you is acceptable, or what people say, is supposed to be according to a stereotype. Because a lot of times it's different stereotypes exist, because of what people have been taught, of what people have been told, or what people may, gather in their mind about, what somebody of another race is really like, or what people will be. There's certain things that need to be changed. There's certain things that are real, about different sensitivities. There are certain things, prejudices that do exist between races and stuff like that. So I don't want to, knock that away. These are good topics you bring up. Thank you, Iron Firehouse. I try to come out with some realistic conversations. Sometimes these are not the conversations that people want to hear, but somebody has to have these conversations. Where I live, they treat Native American Indians the worst. Well, Native Indians the worst. Yeah, well, they go through it as well. But I say Native Indians are some of the most beautiful people in the world. Like I said, I would date a Native Indian, and it would just be what it would be. Like I said, I mean, it's what it is. Appreciate the stream, smash the like. Thank you, Tech and Beats. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's a situation where not everybody's going to have an open mind. Not everybody's going to be willing to change. Not everybody's going to be willing to see it for what it is. But as long as you're happy with who you're with, as long as you're open-minded, as long as you're, willing to take on the challenges and I guess the I don't know, the prejudices that come with, being with somebody of another race, then do it. I encourage people, you know what? If you want to be with somebody that's different, if you want to be with somebody that's not the same hue as you, and other people are against it, and you really love that person, hey, have at it. Do what you do. There's some people that may not like that, and relationships should be bringing two beautiful personalities together to one. I agree with you, Lynn. You know, some people feel the way that they feel. My thing is like, hey, if I meet that right person, and that right person happens to be of another race than me, I'm not to make a statement, but to really just see it for what it is. Hey, jump the broom, smash the plate, cross over the line. Who knows? That may be the way. That may be the way to go. But also, too, for my black women out there, I do appreciate you. I have not abandoned you. I'm not saying that you're not worth. You're beautiful. I appreciate you all. You would have a wonderful insight. You deserve someone really great. I appreciate that. Free me, we out. Woo! There you go to you, Lynn. So like I said, but my biggest thing is to anybody that dates interracially, don't bash the race that you come from. Don't down the people that you come from, the culture that you come from. Just look at it open-mindedly. I'm saying? Look at it from a situation where, you say to yourself, okay, this is just something else that I want to experience. I want a new, different experience, or maybe it's different, maybe it's not, but look at the content of the character of the person that you're dealing with, and that's really where I go with that. Like I said, it shouldn't have to be this really difficult thing, but for the most part, that's just really where I stand with that. Well, I don't know if I'm a god. I'm not gonna say that. Inspirational. I could be inspirational. Maybe I am. I don't know. I appreciate that. But if it is any inspiration that you find in my live streams from what I'm doing and what I'm saying or whatever that comes from, people pouring in me, maybe the graces of God. There you go. But like I said, hopefully I've said something that's useful in this stream. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I said something that's, worth it and whatnot. But I really do feel this way, that if you find somebody and they happen to look a little different than you, then you should go after it, realistically. But it'll be more challenging because there's be more people that are against it, that'll tell you that you should play it safe. The people have dated to be patient with me, and after my son over time. Exactly. Well, I hear you, Lynn. That's cool. You could read books from Audible, your voiceovers, cozy mail. Well, maybe, who knows? I may do an Audible book. I may do a what do you call it? An audio book. I may have to. If somebody wants me to do any voiceover out there, and they're willing to pay the right check, who knows? Who knows? I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't like listening to myself when I go back through my live streams, but I watch my live streams and whatnot. I hear myself speak. So I try to, get my voice and diction together. I tried to actually take that in college. That was one of the things that I was doing. Took speech class and all that stuff. But that's another story. That's a side note. But for the most part, again, like I was saying, if you really, really love somebody and you really, really want to be with somebody outside of your race, just be prepared to deal with the obstacles, the pitfalls and stuff like that. Just be prepared to go through the challenges that come with it. If you really care about that person, if they really mean something to you, if it really matters to you, just be prepared, to face the world. You and them against the world. But I say to anybody, if you're gonna date outside of your race, especially depending on who you date, you want to be ready. You want to be ready. You want to be open-minded. You want to be strong. You want to be together. You want to really, be with each other and be for each other, because there will be people who try to tear you apart. Even if you don't always see it, there will be people from time to time who will test, your love or your honor or your bond, with that person that you're with particularly. And there's people that may, go against your kids, that may go against your whole lifestyle and what it is that you're about. But if you build a strong foundation and insulate yourself with that person that you're with, and you created a family and you created an understanding with each other, and you communicate with each other on a regular basis, then it shouldn't be a problem. It'll be inconvenient, it'll be annoying, it'll be something that you really may not want to go through. But, think about it. If it's a person that you love, if it's somebody that you really care about, then it's worth it. All relationships need strong foundations. Yes, they do. But some relationships need stronger foundations, especially when there's a history of people, dying because of interracial, interracial relationships. At one point, people don't realize here in America that interracial relationships were actually illegal. Somebody like me could be shot and killed if I dated a white woman, in certain states and stuff like that. Some people still look at you a certain type of way if you come walking through with somebody hand in hand. That's just different. What's up, Michael Skeen? Agreed. My dad and my mom are different, so it's true. The judge and me and black and my dad and white and love each other very much. There you go. So it's important to understand, how people feel, the different obstacles that people will put in your way, the different hateful things that people will say. There are people that fear what they don't understand, and some people don't understand how folks could date someone outside of their race. And somebody says, and I hate the saying when people say, well, it's okay to have sex with different people from different races, but to actually be with them and marry them and have a life with them, is a problem. And that's wrong. My dad's family was very hateful towards my mom. Sorry to hear that, Michael Skeen, but these things happen, But what you try to do is not let them deter you. Try not to let them deter you from what it is you do. So, you know how it is. Yeah, Michael Skeen, it's rough, it's sad, but like I said, these are things that's happened. And I try to bring up this conversation because even though it is awkward for some people, even though they feel that this is unnecessary, there are people who've experienced these things. There's people that need to know that, hey, you know what? There's somebody out there that cares about these type of issues. There's somebody out there saying, hey, look, go ahead and do you, man. Go ahead and make it happen, man or woman. Make it happen. If you find that right person and that person doesn't happen to look like you, why not? People look at you differently when you date a different race. They do. But like Josie said, a lot of us are mixed and don't even know it. Yeah, like Lynn was saying, as long as they have strong love. And that's the important thing. The important thing is to build that bond between the two people that are together, regardless of what anybody says. There's still a law on the books in the little town that I lived in that black people aren't allowed to own property. My lawyer is black, lesbian, and she owns several properties. I said, yeah, well, kudos to her. There's a lot of racist laws and stuff like that like I said, hopefully are not still on the books and whatnot, but, there's still a lot of racist sentiment out there. My boyfriend's mom and dad talk about having to use separate water fountains and bathrooms. I would feel humility and very angry. Yeah, it's like that. It was like that at one point, unfortunately. But it's important to, address and just understand how far we've come to the point where it's not as much of an issue as it was. People are not really just getting outright killed for this stuff because, like I said, even this conversation could get somebody killed. Once upon a time, this conversation could get me killed. Just bringing this up could get me killed. Color doesn't matter with my mom. She used to be in judge. Sorry to hear that, Michael, but, I get it. So the fact that we could get to the point where we could have this conversation, whether folks agree with it or not, whether you care about this live stream or not, what's going on, TCK? It is something to be said about us being able to get to a point where we could talk about this. You know what I'm saying? In 2009, the laws were still... Hold on, let me see that. In 2009, the law was still there, but of course hadn't been enforced in decades. This conversation is going. I don't know how long you've been here, TCK, but thank you. I said a lot of stuff in this conversation, but I'm just keeping it going for people that are coming through and whatnot. Yeah, this is a conversation that needs to be had. It's a conversation that, hopefully I can start and people can continue on their own. They don't need Mel to continue the conversation, but it is what it is. I was told there are still parts of the states where it would be not safe for me and him. Yeah, unfortunately, free me out. That's true. There's certain parts of the South that are not safe. There's certain parts of the South that probably ain't safe for most black people. But, like I said, it is much better than what it was. Martin Luther King and all the leaders fought for us. This you all right, people would get hurt. Yeah. Now, discussions like this would have got somebody hurt back in the day. Yeah, even like Lynn said, free me out. Unfortunately, there are places in the United States where interracial relationships would get you hurt, would get you killed. It's unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate that the Black Panther Party, or maybe, I don't know, it's unfortunate that the KKK still exists, so It's just crazy. Yeah, especially the South. You know how that goes, Michael. But like I said, you try to have this open dialogue. For me, this is not so much for the moment right now. This is for any young minds or anybody out there that may be inspired in future generations. You never know. Oregon isn't like that, Portland. We keep it weird. Who knows? Yeah, I always wanted to go out there to Portland, Oregon. That's cool. Like I said, it's good to keep it weird sometimes. But unfortunately, there's certain parts of the world, there's certain parts of the country where people still have this sentiment, and people are willing to hurt you or be harmful and say nasty things to you because of it. And it's crazy. It's really crazy. But I try to commend the youngsters out there that do their own thing, you know what I'm saying? And they don't worry about, basically how other folks, get at them. We have an alt-right white supremacist organization in my city. It is sickening. And unfortunately, these are organizations that are not just going to easily go away, you know. But the thing is to try to combat love with hate, to ignorance with understanding, negativity with positive. I'm married to a very handsome blue-eyed white man. Most of the time, I forget he's white. Well, that's the thing about TCK. Here's the thing. You should be able to date somebody who's a different race, a different background, and not be an issue. Future generations learn from this and they will get the benefit to learn about this topic. I agree with you, Michael Skeen. And it's something that is relevant. This conversation is relevant because so many people are affected by it. And so many people have fought and died to get to this moment. That's why this is not just a live stream. This is not just me talking in the middle of the night. This is not just a whimsical conversation. This is something that really affects people. They are part of the progressive conservative government. Hope they don't get in. Well, I hope they don't get in either Firehouse, but unfortunately, there's a place for these things. And you still try to fight it with love. You still try to fight it with positive. You still try not to let these things overcome and overtake you. But unfortunately, that happens. You know what I mean? You just want to, I don't know, you just want to try to teach something of value. You just want to try to spread love into the world. People are affected from this in every day, even outside of the U.S. Yes, I agree with you, Michael. And it's sad that people are affected in these different ways, but it happens. And it's important to acknowledge it, because if you don't, like I said, you'll find yourself, poorly mistaken or ill-equipped to deal with what's really going on in the world. It's looking like they were the prophets. I won't worry about it. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know what to say about that, other than to say that, you still have to keep fighting a good fight if that's what you believe in. That these things are negative and these things are going against you and whatnot. Like I said, stand up for what you believe in. I don't know, because the world is already, too dangerous to have it full of more negative people. I just like to see these relationships out there. It gives me hope. Exactly. You want to keep having hope. You want to keep encouraging people to, like I said, love who they love, be who they want to be with, and you have to fight for that. Like I said, people have fought and died, for us to get to this moment. My family loves him so much. He's a blessing. The way I see it, we all fought the same. Wow, that's funny. In other countries, there are laws that people have to follow. Hate is everywhere. Believe in yourself. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Michael Skeen. It's unfortunate. It's sad, I don't know. Just the Jesus in the spirit. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. When you add Jesus in the mix, the powerful things can happen as well. Definitely have faith. You know what I'm saying? For those that believe. Definitely for those that believe. Like I said, I just in this life and time, man, you need it. You need it. Definitely need it. But I know I'm gonna have to wrap this up because the battery on my phone is about to die and I'm at 8%. I don't want to lose you folks in the middle of the stream. I was gonna try to push this for an hour. Opinionated, a whole diversity rules. Period. I agree. Don't need some water. You standing so long. Yeah, I'm gonna get something like that. I'm gonna do that. Thank you, Free Me Out. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go another minute or so, but I'm not gonna keep you too long. God bless you all. God bless you all. Can I go an hour? I think I can go an hour. You know what? I got 10 minutes left. I'm gonna see if I could go. See if my phone doesn't go cut off for me. I got 7%. I'm gonna try to make this an hour. I'm gonna try to make this an hour since I got 10 minutes left. If I cut off, forgive me. If I cut off, forgive me. But I'm still here. I'm trying to at least make this hour on this particular subject. You know, yeah, I'm sure. But let's see, because I keep saying my battery is low. So if it cuts off on me, forgive me, folks. But I don't know. Where would you be without diversity? That's why I love YouTube. Yeah, that's true. I love YouTube because of it too. Seeing the diverse people that come from different walks of life and culture and backgrounds and just, points of view. We don't always agree with each other. We don't always see eye to eye with each other, but, we are here. We are one. We are a community, and hopefully we don't tear each other down. Hopefully we can see each other in our differences and not, judge us, because diversity is everywhere in neighborhoods. Yeah, neighborhoods as well. I agree with you, Michael. So you just try to appreciate people for being different and stuff like that. You try to appreciate people for being who they are. You try to, be open to different cultures. Thanks for bringing up the conversation. We share points of view. Good night to you, TCK. Appreciate you for coming through. Appreciate for doing what you do. Like I say, I see it dimming. I see it dimming now. I'm trying to make it. Let me see. I'm at 5% now. The challenge is going on. Diversity is great in many ways. Yes, I agree with you, Michael. I like the different foods and all such as people bring to the table. I agree with you, Lynn. And I think it's important to explore and to go out there and see new and different things and not be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Not be afraid to experience life. Not to be afraid to experience it with different cultures. Life would be boring if folks just stayed in the corner and stayed to their own people all the time and just stayed to the things and the ways of what they deal with. Life would be boring. You got to explore. Traveling is one way. I agree with you, Michael Skeen. You know what I'm saying? Just, seeing people online. What if I got online and I only could speak to black people? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, oh, I can't speak to you because you're not in my community. I can't deal with you because maybe you half black, or maybe you Puerto Rican, or maybe you Dominican, or maybe you Caucasian or whatever, and I can't speak to you. That would be boring. Mel doesn't do boring. I'm saying? I do excitement. I do love. I love black people as well. But my thing is, I should be able to talk to different people from different walks of life. I should be able to experience different things. And that comes with dating as well. You should be able to experience different things with different people. It shouldn't have to be a one-sided, narrow-minded way of going about it. You should be able to go out there, reach out and branch out and do different things. But at the same time, respect where you come from. Social media is one way. Someone or something is trying hard to keep us divided. I will not play that game. Yes, opinionated. I agree. Don't play that game. Divided we stand. Divided we stand. United we stand, divided we fall. Expand and searches for yourself. Hello, and everyone else. What's going on, Denise? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Like I said, I don't know, it's just something that you have to fight for. You fight for that equality, for that diversity, for that understanding, for that peace, for that love that exists, not just in one community, not just in one segment of life, but in all of life, in all the culture, everywhere. And it is about keeping an open mind. It is about seeing people, for the content and the character of who they are, not judging a book by its cover, not being so quick to dismiss people because they don't come from your culture, they don't come from your background. And let me see where I'm at. 4%. Explore all the communities around you. I agree with you, Michael Skeen. This is something that people should do. Explore the communities, the different tastes, the different vibes, the different opinions, the philosophies, the different sciences and stuff like that. I'm not even sure what my culture is. Well, free me out. You can always explore. You never know. Like I said, but it's important to just see what's out there. Find the origins of what is and the possibilities of what can be. Don't be afraid to see people in different lights. Don't be afraid to, branch out. Don't be afraid to break free of certain stigmatisms and stereotypes that exist. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael Skeen. Do your research and learn. Expand your mind, expand your heart. See more, be more. Don't just be narrow-minded. Don't be so, secluded and, in your own bubble and just so in your own place. Growing up in NYC allowed me to love and respect all cultures. Yes, opinionated, same here. Me growing up in Brooklyn, doing it like that, Now that's BX, but Brooklyn. Growing up in Brooklyn allowed me to see different cultures and experience different things, museums, attractions, visits, take pics, images. I agree, Michael Skeen. There you go. Like I said, there's so many different things you can do. There's so many different ways that you can connect with people. There's so many different ways you could reach out. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm still at 4%. Okay, that's cool. You and BX, peace, fam. I see you. Okay, so I can throw up the BX for you. BX, baby. You know what it is. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm gonna throw up the Brooklyn. I'm gonna throw up the Brooklyn sign. That's not nothing else. Brooklyn. We can do it like that. But I see you out there, BX. It's all good. I love Toronto and Glasgow when I lived there. In NYC, we have the advantage to explore. Yes, we do. And there's a great David Bowie exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum. I encourage people to check it out that are in New York, me in the New York area. I got to go check that out myself. But it's important to go out there and experience different cultures, be open-minded, see where folks is coming from, not be afraid to, go beyond your own understanding, your own limited view of life. There's so much more to see, there's so much more to explore, there's so much more you can be, like I said, in your relationships, in your work, in your life, in your thinking, in your philosophy, in your science, even in the way you make money, you know what I'm saying? We as New Yorkers don't experience culture that are open. So we as New Yorkers don't experience culture as they're open to see and to do. I don't know where you're going with that. Maybe you missed something else. Going to bed. Love listening to you. Have a nice night. Thank you, Free Me Out. I appreciate you for coming through. I appreciate your contribution to this conversation. And I encourage people to check out Free Me Out over there at her channel. Awesome individual. Very down to earth. A lot of good tips, strategies, and things like that's going on over at her channel. Kudos to you, Free Me Out. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you for coming through to this live stream. Hopefully I said something that was helpful, that was engaging, that made you think, that made you laugh, all these other particular things, as I am at 2%. Good night, man. I got to keep up the good work. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michael Skeen. I appreciate you. I'm trying to make it to an hour, but we shall see, because once I hit 1%, I may shut off anyway. 100%. All good. Appreciate you freeing me out. Like I said, I'm glad you came through. I'm glad you shared. You know what I'm saying? This is just an awesome conversation. Just hopefully it permeates through, YouTube, and it goes where it needs to go. Thank you, Opinionated. I appreciate you for coming through. Peace to you. Yes, no videos. I don't know what that is, but IFI house. I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, hopefully, like I said, as I hit the 58-minute mark, bam.